Welcome to LPT Success Secrets with me, Diana. Today, our special guest is the general manager here at the Myrtle Beach location, who's also the team leader. Tom, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So since we did the collaboration from Jeff Cook only to LPT Realty, how has that transition been for you and for the team? It's been a little over a month now.
The transition has been it's been good. You know, it's been one where obviously there's gonna be some hiccups here and there, right? And because we were a brokerage and now we're becoming part of LPT, what it is there's some things that we did as a Jeff Cook real estate team that are a little bit different than a lot of other companies that are out there. But for the most part, it's happened, and a lot of the stuff that could have been speed bumps have not been speed bumps. It's been decently easy. Yeah, the change is hard. Change can be hard sometimes, but at the same time, there's a lot that LPT offers that's really good for our group.
Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about the hiccups.
Switched from a different software is mainly the biggest one, right? We can continue to use Follow Up Boss and all that sort of stuff. I know that LPT offers Chime, but we've been so entrenched into the technology stack that we have that we were still able to use it, and that has been pretty seamless in that sense. But getting digital signatures and things like that, it's been relearning a lot of that. But for the most part, a lot of those digital signature things, they're all very similar. So just understanding dot loop, that's probably been the largest pain. But if that's the largest pain, then we're doing okay.
Okay, so you kept the CRM the same because LPT right now is considering adding Follow Up Boss to the other agents. So I know Jeff Cook already offered that.
We do
for the agents. And so that was the same. And then dot loop is supposed to be the easiest to do it like online, you know. And so what was that learning curve like where they were like, wait, I just don't understand how to do that?
The biggest was learning how to do the loops and the templates within the loops. Okay. Other than that, being able to build a loop, very easy. Being able to get signatures, very easy. Once the templates are set up, it's so easy. We can send that out. So again, it's one where it's like, it's just learning the little nuances within dot loop. It's nothing where we have to learn a completely new system and it's completely foreign and it's like we're talking Martian or anything like that. It's more of, all right, what do they call it here? What do they call the signature platform here? And integrating that in. How do we find the initials, or how do we send it out, or what does it look like, and stuff like that, which is all just very easy to do.
Okay. So you mentioned templates. Does LPT already provide templates for you to use, and then you just sort of like save your favorites and then reuse them, or do you create your own? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, LPT has, they have templates, right? So they have their own. A lot of them are with the state of South Carolina based on that sort of stuff, right? And they help set a lot of that up. We have some internal documents that we use that we have to build our own templates. So just mapping those out. And a lot of what happens with ours is, our operations department does that for us. So the agents don't have to go in and remap these templates. They can just go in. They can select the type of template that they need, whether it's a buyer or a listing or anything like that. And it's all saved in there for them.
Okay, good. Makes it easy because we want to always make the agents feel empowered, and they don't want to feel as if this is too confusing, you know, sort of like remorse or regret. So let's look at that. Has the agents been excited about the rev share? Has anyone mentioned that, or about the stocks? Because you have to be 3 year vested into it to receive the stocks. Have they shown any enthusiasm on, you know, these new things that we're adding to service the agents?
Yeah, absolutely. The agents that see this as a career really get excited about it. Like, they really enjoy it because what they're doing is they're seeing the value that being pre-IPO brings, right? Yes, it does take 3 years, but if you're looking at this as a career, then you're already seeing it as, I'm going to be in this for 3 years. I'm going to be making more money because of it, right? The marketing behind it, they have to go get listings. They do that regularly, and we provide leads at Jeff Cook Real Estate, so they can use those leads to continue to build their business and have LPT's marketing and all that helps boost those listings as well. None of ours are quite in the prospect, the the recruiting prospect sort of arena yet, but they're getting a better idea of what that looks like. And for the first little bit, it was, oh, we don't want to do recruiting. Like, that's not what we want to do. We want to sell homes and help people and do all that sort of stuff. But it's very much almost a passive thing that the agents have to do of building their downline. All they have to do is just have a conversation, and LPT will come in behind and follow up and try to recruit these people into their downline. So the nervousness about having to be a recruiter is actually significantly less than a lot of people think.
Right. And when you run the numbers, actually, it doesn't make sense for the majority of agents to be a rev share partner because of the split. I mean, I know when you're already tied to a brokerage, they have their split because they provide you the leads for this example, Jeff could, but the 80-20. So they're like, wait, why would I do that when I could just do the business builder and pay the $5K cap per year? Right. That would make so much more sense, depending on the percentage of homes. And we're going to lead into the Myrtle Beach. So there's people reaching out saying, Myrtle Beach is so much less expensive than Charleston. Why not move there? There's still beaches, et cetera. So stay tuned because we're going to lead into the market a little bit more closer. But for now, I just want to know, so for those considering joining LPT or our agents right now, the business builder makes more sense to everyone. Unless you start adding that downline and then you calculate it and then you're like, okay, now it actually exceeds the difference that you would pay with your commissions. Then it makes sense. Like, oh, of course, now I'm going to switch over. And as far as the rules go, you can switch it once per year. So once you make that decision, you can switch it, but you have to hold on to it. Like, I think within a year, depending if you're switching from business builder to rev share and rev share back to business builder, but you always have that option available. So
that's right.
I like that it grows with us, based on our needs and, what we're doing as agents. And, LPT is always about real estate first. That is our priority, right?
And the cool thing is within LPT Connect, which is their hub, they actually help keep track of your downline and what kind of dollars you're making out of that downline, so that you can see in real time, does it make sense to go from business builder over to the rev share program? It's really a genius thing.
Okay, so as a team leader, Tom is the team leader here in the Myrtle Beach area. Is everyone under you? Because some people might be asking, like, if you are the managing manager of that location, of that branch, do you get everyone under you?
No, not currently. Not everybody, because not everyone came in specifically about me. And that's an important thing with LPT, is making sure that the person that they're associated with comes into their downline. But for the foreseeable future, I mean, this one, where for me it opens up a lot, where I can do more recruiting and bring them into the JCRE team or LPT for that matter. And that would allow me to continue to build my downline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That would be amazing if I had everybody, right? Jump start right away.
Team leaders and other brokerages curious about coming. They're like, well, should we even add the LPT name? Because right now it's Jeff Cook LPT Realty. It's like, why even add the LPT towards the end? And it's because of the free marketing tools and the tech and, the lower commissions and just sort of like, does the agents know that you can, once you pass away, you can sign over?
Probably not. That's not yes, you can.
Yes, you can. But they just have to be a real licensed agent. It can't just be like anyone. Definitely. And that's the only huge drawback is that. So let's say that you have a child and you're going to pass it over to your child and they have to be 18 years old and get their license. And then they can have their, share of, if you built a rev share team or something like that and you receive that monthly, that they are the beneficiary of that.
That's right.
That it's just something down the line. So I know everything's so new now. It's only been almost 2 months, over a month in, and it's learning all of the benefits that you can get from LPT.
Yeah, and one of the things to differentiate too of JCRE with LPT, JCRE LPT Realty, is that LPT itself doesn't provide offices necessarily, right? And they don't provide a team environment where they're helping generate leads for you and having this culture and doing all these things that Jeff Cook Real Estate, that our team does. They're very good. They have even said this themselves, that they're the plumbing system behind the building itself. And so that's where a team like Jeff Cook Real Estate can come in and provide added value to the agents that want to be both on a team and have the benefits of LPT Realty. Excuse me. If they only wanted to go LPT Realty, it can still be in your downline. They're just in LPT Realty. They're not getting the benefits of what Jeff Cook Real Estate is, right? So there are some people that don't want to have access to leads, or they don't want to have to come to sales meetings and things like that. So they can join LPT Realty just in itself. But if you as an agent of Jeff Cook Real Estate are their initial contact with it, they can still come into your downline, which is really cool.
So you mentioned about offices. Now, is this a hub?
It is.
Other LPT agents in Myrtle Beach area? Okay. And then they would be able to utilize one of the office
conference
spaces
room and yep, some of the space in between and all that sort of stuff. We also do our weekly rallies here every Wednesday at noon. We do that here. We cater for anybody that shows up and things like that. So we get them information and people, the good part about that is it's protected, right? So if you send somebody, if you're an agent, that's not a part of Jeff Cook Real Estate, then what happens is you can send your potential recruits to those where they can see it and they can be a part of that atmosphere, and they're not going to get bombarded with JCRE stuff. It's going to be LPT, and that's very specific about them. So
LPT only rallies. So no matter if it's like a Remax, a KW, it's only LPT that they're coming in. And do you lead those?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
And how has that experience been so far?
It's ramping up. Let me put it that way. Yeah, it's ramping up. It's one where there's a ton of good information, and it's catered. I mean, who doesn't like a free lunch?
Okay, and just so you know, this is provided and paid for by LPT, so it's not an extra cost of the branch to provide the free lunch services for potential LPT agents.
That's right.
Let's look at the market itself in Myrtle Beach. So in Charleston, what can I say? Everything's really expensive and the rates are really high. So how has the Myrtle Beach experience been for the agents here?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually started with Jeff Cook Real Estate in Charleston. Like that's where I cut my teeth in real estate for 3 years, and then I came up here and opened the office at the end of 2020. And at that time, it was surprising how much less of an expense it was to own a property here. All of that has been wiped away because everybody has figured it out. Our average price point is right around $350,000. People want to buy real close to the beach, but that's not necessarily the case. We do have more beach, and you can be closer to the beach than in Charleston, where the beach is IOP and Sullivan's Island and Folly Beach, and it's extremely expensive to live there. Here, you can be within 15, 20 minutes of the beach. It's under $350,000, which is pretty good. That's pretty amazing. A single family home too. So you're in a neighborhood and it's 350 to 400. So, if you want to be on the beach, you're talking in the millions, right? It can get very expensive. But if you're a couple rows off, it's sub $1 million. It's in the 700 to 800 range. So still somewhat affordable when you really take a good look at the grand scheme of things. This compared to Charleston, still significantly cheaper, which is good. The cost of living here is not very high at all. The traffic is getting worse, but it is nowhere near what Charleston is. Okay. I can tell you that from experience.
So let's tap into a few things, Tom, that you just mentioned. So let's look at the pricing. It sounds wonderful. Significantly less than Charleston. And it took me about 2.5-hour drive from Johns Island all the way to Myrtle Beach, which is an easy trip. And you can still enjoy the historic, charming Charleston area and downtown, and still be close to the beach if you wanted and save hundreds, if not like even $1 million. So we're talking about like closer to the beach. And I love that. That sounds great to me. So let's run down the cost a little bit more, because now we're looking at flood insurance. We're looking at like hurricane, like are those extra property taxes, because now you're right on the water's edge. I'm just assuming that even though maybe the cost of acquiring a house is lower, but now you're looking at maybe higher annual obtaining costs for property taxes, for hurricane insurance.
Sure. Potentially, a lot of that's going to be similar to Charleston, right?
Okay.
The cost of insurance is very similar. If it's not in a flood zone, then you're talking about less than $700 a year. Check with your insurance folks on that one. I'm certainly not in insurance or anything like that, but, the cost to live on the beach has the potential to be expensive, when it comes to insurance, right? So, you could talk about $2,000 a year in the cost of insurance, and that's
Is that for flood insurance?
for flood insurance. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And, it can go up depending on if it's a raised beach or if it's on the ground and things like that. But certainly it's not anything that's too crazy. I mean, if you're talking about a couple $1,000s, in insurance versus a couple $100,000, living in Charleston to just buy the same property, then you're still saving money, right? But things outside of that, the taxes are very similar. All that's the biggest difference between Charleston and Myrtle Beach is the amount of condos on the ocean.
Okay.
That's the biggest difference.
Meaning you have more or less?
Significantly more.
More. Okay.
Significantly more. And the thing about these condos is they're called locally condotels, right? So they're run very, it's literally just a mashup word, really, where they're individual condos, but they're run almost like a hotel. So there's a front desk. You check in, then you can go up to it. Nearly all of them have ocean views. They're high rises from 4 levels to 24 levels and anywhere in between. And it's just like a hotel room where a lot of them are 2 rooms with a galley kitchen in the middle. They're the balcony out to the ocean and the beach. The thing about them though is that they all have, condo fees in the hundreds, right? So 300, 400, some are all the way up to $1,200 a month. So that's the difference. The biggest difference between Charleston and Myrtle Beach is definitely the condos on the beach.
Now, generally speaking, I know it varies per, condo unit that you're purchasing, but does that include like some of those expenses that we were talking about, like a flood insurance or hazard insurance? Because sometimes HOAs are like, well, it includes water, it includes trash pickup, et cetera. So usually based on your, experience, like, does it cover some of those, or is that an addition on top of those expenses?
Yeah.
Because if someone was running numbers, they're like, well, does it make sense to, even get a property that's like that right on the beach? I mean, that's so desirable, especially with an elevator. And I'm thinking of elderly people where they don't want stairs, they don't want maintenance, they don't want to mow their lawn, they want to go on vacation, and if they could live right on the beach, I mean, that's ideal.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. I have yet to go in a building that's higher than 3 stories that doesn't have an elevator. Most of them have elevators. What the HOA covers varies on each building.
Okay.
Right? That's kind of the challenge. But getting that information is pretty easy. So it's one where you can go in and you can figure out the numbers pretty quickly, of what it's going to cost. Right? So, some of them will cover the amenities in the building. So things like the lazy rivers and the 14 hot tubs and the pools and stuff like that. Some of them will cover internet, water, electric, elevators, so all of it. Some of them will cover everything in there, including cable, including all of that, right? And then others might not have, cable, or it might not have internet service, but it has everything else. So it's truly by building. You got to go through each building to figure out what each HOA provides.
And you mentioned there's a lot to choose from. So if one doesn't cover a lot, you could just probably go to the next one and it might offer more, or, might be more reasonable in price.
Yep.
Where are people moving from? So like Myrtle Beach is growing, but are they all local here in South Carolina? Where are they coming from?
That's a great question. All over. They're coming from all over. Okay. I mean, Texas, Ohio, California, New York, all of New England, some from like the Seattle area, Washington area. We've been talking with people from all over the place. They love Myrtle Beach. They love being able to get to the beach and that it's still affordable, that they can go and do all the touristy things, but there's also still local stuff. There's plenty of golf. There's upwards of 60 plus golf courses here. There's a lot of stuff to do that people love to be here. and they come from all over. It's what I've noticed is there's a lot of people that have been vacationing here for 20 years, and they moved from New York to Ohio or wherever, and they moved all over the place, and they finally say, you know what, it's time to go live at the beach. That's where they come here.
Okay, perfect. And are there international buyers as well besides the U.S. states?
We haven't come across as many, but I'm sure there's got to be some that are buying condos, and it's a good Airbnb, VRBO, short-term rental market that's pretty strong here, as you could imagine. So being able to have investments is big.
Okay. All right, Tom. So as we come to an end of this conversation together, what kind of advice would you give to other licensed real estate agents?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing is be able to have access to leads in some form or fashion, right? Whether you're developing them yourself through social media, or you're buying them, or you're developing them through your own website, something along those lines, or you join a team that provides leads. And there are a few of them out there. We do really well at doing that for our agents. So that's certainly a big one for us, as we provide a lot of leads, and the ability to go and find business that way. And then make sure that you're putting in the work to get the rewards, right? The last couple of years have been one where we didn't have to educate necessarily as much, because a buyer was coming in and they were having to go to they're going to have to go to their top dollar right away. Well, now there's deals to be had, right? The buyers have the chance to go and find deals here and there, right? Sellers are helping with seller concessions in some cases, right? But there's a lot of education that goes into it, right? So talking about the interest rates, right? Understanding what the value of homes are. It's not as simple as just saying, well, you're going to have to spend 30 grand over whatever the appraised value is to win this home. If you want it, that's what you're going to have to do. Now let's take a look at it, make sure it's right for you. There's a little bit more to it as a buyer's agent. For sellers and listings agents, that's where the people that stick around in real estate, they go and they find listings, right? And they're finding people that aren't necessarily ready to list right now, but they're starting to explore. A lot of those people come in as buyers. So if you're doing open houses, if you're marketing and trying to find buyers, a lot of the folks that you're talking with might have a place to sell. And that's where you're going to really be able to thrive, is being able to find a way to gather listings, make that listing grow into other listings, and really start to build your business that way. So for me, the big things would be make sure you're finding a way to get more leads, right? Make sure that you're joining, like Jeff Cook Real Estate, somewhere where you can get a lot of training and get a lot of mentorship. And then the last part is just really put in the effort. The people that put in the effort will come through this just fine.
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for joining us today. And if you had any further questions about Myrtle Beach area, about relocating here, or becoming part of the LPT team, please reach out to us. The links will be down below. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
However you want to say the rest.
I know, it's like Jeff Cook, LPT, Realty. LPT, so like, just keep adding things to it. Okay.
Yes, sir. She made it.
That'd be funny for the end. Bloopers. Fine. Lawson picks up his pie. Okay. Second blooper. Second pie taking up his pie.
Yeah, we got a pumpkin and we got an apple. I think I like them both, honestly.
You tried them both?
Yeah, I just stick my finger in it. Yeah, that's just lunch. Just like Absolutely.
Enjoy.
Have a good one. What kind did you get?
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin, of course. That's the good one.
That's humongous. Little pie.
There you go. That's lunch right there, isn't it? Y'all have a good one.